Sometimes I have to say, hey, so you all come on in, hit the like and hit the share button. I just finished listening to a live stream on credit, right? Um, the credit changes that's will happen. What's today's date? Oh, tomorrow, March 17th, right? Sometimes I get my days and dates. Just I just wake up and go. All right, wake up and live. Don't even look at the date or the days, but come in again. Hit that like and hit that share button. So I'm listening to this live stream about the credit changes that will happen tomorrow, Monday, March 17th. And I just want to clarify some things on that. However, the change that will happen is if you have any medical collections reported on your credit report, right? Any medical collections for your medical bill. Hello, Tar Heels. Come on in. I don't care if you're a crypto enthusiast. If you just want to know about XPR, XRP, you're going to want to listen to this live stream because, again, it is all about your credit, your cash flow, your crypto, your coins, copper, silver, and your Christ consciousness, right? Your Christ consciousness. So while I'm on this road that does not have a lot of traffic, I don't know what that was, some limb or something in the road. We're going to get right into this. So tomorrow, if you have any medical bills, any medical collections reported on your credit report as of tomorrow, supposed to be automatically deleted. Now, all the times it does not work that way. I'm just going to be honest. It does not work that way. However, you should at least have a free credit monitoring tool or website like Credit Karma that will let you know, right? That's free. It doesn't cost you anything. Now, I know you might have heard that Credit Karma is not your true FICO score, and that is correct. Credit Karma is not your true FICO score. That is absolutely correct. However, it is a free monitoring system that can show you what's reporting on your credit report, what dates those reportings will happen. Like every credit card has a reporting date that is different from your due date, right? Whatever date that reports on your credit report, there's a strategy you can use to pay down that balance on your credit card or any of your personal loans as much as you can, because that's a strategy of paying by not only the due date but the credit reporting date to help build your credit score, especially if you're trying to get financed for something or approved for something. So check your credit reporting scores this week if you have any medical bills, medical collections that's reporting. Now, that was passed on through the Biden administration. Trump administration kept that intact. So January the 17th, it was approved, and it is supposed to go into effect tomorrow. Tar Heels, I cannot read comments. Hello. Hello. Thank you all. But still come in. Come on in and say hello, right? So that's number one. Now, some questions about credit that was on this live stream that I know from the knowledge that I've had of repairing credit and going to court with Navy Federal and debt collectors, disputing debt collectors. I want to address also is, number one, someone asked, can names be deleted from your credit report? And that YouTuber said no. Maybe it's your maiden name if you were married. Maybe if you're a junior, right, or something, and for some reason, your father's credit or your credit profiles got mixed because you're a junior or you're a senior, and getting that name and the correct credit information reported is very vital. So if you're a woman, right, and your name changed for whatever reason, or something happened and your name changed and you're a male and you got a legally name change. For example, I know that my daughter, I changed my daughter's name legally to her father's last name, but when she was conceived and born, right, we were not married at the time, so she had my maiden name. And then once we got married, I changed to her father's name. So it might be a situation like that where your name was changed. It does not matter if you're a male or female. So yes, you can get those names deleted and your updated name added to your credit report. Now, that is a strategy that helps. Excuse my voice is cracking. That is a strategy that helps, especially if you got some derogatory credit reporting and under that old name. That really helps to delete those derogatory credit reports. Maybe it's a charge off, maybe it's a collection, and if it was under that old name, that has expedite and makes it much more easier to get those delinquent reporting off your credit report. Also, just getting old addresses and names deleted from your credit report can improve your credit score by hundreds. There's people that I improved their credit, and that was the only services they needed or wanted. They made was military, right? And they had a lot of addresses as a result of military, or they just moved a lot. A lot of times, you see low income people, unfortunately, that move a whole lot, and they have a whole lot of addresses reporting on their credit. Well, those can and really should be deleted. It will improve your credit score by hundreds. Another thing that this YouTuber said, I do not agree with, was if you are collected or you're contacted by a debt collector, to tell the debt collector, I'm broke, I don't have the money. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. Because that is an alleged debt, right? So by you saying I'm broke and I don't have the money, is really admitting to that is my debt. This is my debt. Please don't do that. Say it 3 times. Please don't do that. So first of all, when your debt is sold to a third party, you had no contractual agreement. They provided no services to you with that third party, aka a debt collector. And so never respond that way, right? I've sold my letters and everything on how to respond to a debt collector, because how can someone collect a debt from you when they did not provide you services, you had no contractual agreement, and you don't even know the company. You have no relationship, no type of business relationship with that company. So what collectors purchase that debt for pennies on the dollar, and I need to get some gas. I drive on half a tank instead of 4. I don't ever let it get under a half. But they purchase that debt for pennies on the dollar, right? Very cheap, and they attempt to collect to you from the full amount. Also, strategy: if you are summoned by a debt collector, I sell those letters as well of how to correctly answer a summons from a debt collector. Now, know that a summons from a debt collector is very different from a summons from the original creditor, right? That means they did not sell your debt, and they're wanting to collect from you. That response is going to be different because you did do business with them. You did apply for some type of services, and they more than likely have the records that prove that you are the person that signed up for those services or had those services. And so, the strategy of disputing a original creditor who did not sell your debt and a debt collector is very, very different. Another, I think, thing that this YouTuber brought out that I really like this part is someone brought up the fact that The only way to build good credit is to use credit in a negative sense, right? Listen, that is true. As Dave Ramsey would teach, the only way to have a good credit score is to use credit. And he twisted it in a negative way because many people do not know how to use credit. They know how to abuse credit. You all, ever since I got the braids out, the rhyming has been on time. Let me say that again for the people in the nosebleed seats, the people in the back row. Many people do not know how to use credit. They know how to abuse credit. Middle class use credit to get things, liabilities, things that cost them money, a house, a vehicle, to take vacations, and hopefully they have a 0% interest rate credit card to do so, right? That you're not paying interest rate on things that you purchase through a credit card. And that's about the extent of the financial education that most middle class, and when I say middle class, I mean 5-figure to 6-figure income earners, have about credit. But listen, if you do not use credit, you're back at zero, right? If you do not use credit, you're back at zero. And so the rich and wealthy use credit in a very, very different way. They do not use credit to purchase things that's going to cost them money, that you're going to pay the bank every month for your mortgage, for example, or for pay your landlord for your rent. The rich and wealthy use credit to get money. In other words, they use credit to buy the property to rent out to consumers, right? That want to live in a place. They use credit to get things that will bring them more money, and that is called assets. Middle class often use credit for liabilities, right? They often use credit for liabilities. So using credit the right way is not widely taught to the masses of how to use credit to get assets and liabilities. If you have not read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, that teaches these strategies and skills and mindset, I highly recommend that you purchase that book. So go beyond your credit, get credit to get things that's going to make you money, that's going to appreciate in value. For example, you can put on your credit card an automatic ship to get gold, silver, or copper. I recommend silver or copper just because that's going to give you the highest return on your investment. Physical silver and copper, not the ETFs, right? And also because that is real money. It has intrinsic value. Our paper, cash, fiat, cash dollar is not real money. It is Federal Reserve note, which means it is a promise to pay, right? Some people use credit to purchase crypto, right? These are examples of using credit wisely and smart to acquire things that's going to appreciate in value, aka assets. Now, another myth that's out here is that credit cards charge you interest rates. That's not true either. You only get charged interest rates on credit cards in two instances or situations. Number one, if you don't pay off the balance in full at the end of the month, right? That's number one. If you do not pay off the balance in full at the end of the month. Number two, if you don't have a 0% interest rate. So usually people that qualify for 0% interest rate have over a 700 credit score, right? And so if you have under a 680, you need to look at getting your credit score, increasing your credit score. Those are only two ways that you can get charged interest rate. Now, let's talk about flipping the script, because this is a financial education and empowerment channel. Ending the IRS. Hello, Crypto J. I'm still going to say about crypto suckers, even though I'm talking about credit and cash flow. Let's talk about ending the IRS. Right. Let me cut my AC on. What will happen as a result? Okay, I'm gonna have to end this live stream so I can bump my music because I'm in my Jeep. So, um, ending the IRS. What does that mean? What's the repercussions of that? It means that your retail taxes are going to get higher. It means that things that you purchase every day, people, there's no such thing as a free lunch, right? Even though I'm listening to lollipops. You don't eat for free. There's no such thing as a free lunch. If you're not going to pay your taxes, the IRS collects billions upon billions in taxes every year from consumers. So if you're not going to pay in taxes, you're going to pay in purchases. You're going to see higher inflation prices, higher prices for your everyday goods and services. It's 11:11. I want you all to type in, whether you are watching this live or on the replay, I want you all to type in 11:11 in the comment, you all. It is 11:11. I got my AC on, but I feel like it's blowing warm. Type in 11:11 in the comment, you all. Tap into that energy. Deuteronomy 1:11. May the Lord thy God, the God of our ancestors, bless you. Thank you. Is that MD? Bless you and increase you 1,000 times more. 11:11 energy right here. So you're going to see higher retail taxes. We are in the information age and era, not the education age and era. Right? 1901, you had John D. Rockefeller to put or to fund is it the General Education Board or General Education Fund? And by doing so, this introduced agriculture, farming, right? John D. Rockefeller is famous for this quote of stating that I do not want a nation of workers, I want a nation of thinkers. We know Henry Ford came in with the assembly line to create Ford products and vehicles as well. And so it is information that is acted upon right now that's going to set people free financially. Our education system, like it or love it, Department of Ed needs a major upgrade. It has not been upgraded since Rockefeller, 1901, the General Board of Education Fund that he did. And even Dale Carnegie, that's why if you go to colleges or universities rather, you see Carnegie Hall. You hear about Carnegie Hall. They funded it because they wanted to create workers. They wanted to create employees. And it was not created for entrepreneurship. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, good or bad, but what I am saying, because I am both an entrepreneur and an employee, what I am saying that people need to learn financial education as well, and not just academic education if you want to thrive and survive better financially. You need a financial education and an academic education, in my opinion, when it comes to getting things or degrees that requires a certification of training, like being a doctor or lawyer, right? In which it requires intense training. And doctors and lawyers oftentimes have to take out 6 figures of student loans debt, right? 6 figures to study. Vocational training is great. Bring back vocational training schooling as well. People can go to colleges and learn HVAC, electrical skills, engineering skills, and come out making 6 figures in 2 years of college and not have to go to intense college and have less student loan debt. Student loan debt is a very, very scary debt. It's a debt on you, it enslaves you because you cannot file in that bankruptcy. You have to pay it. And oftentimes people just kick the can down the road and they want to just put it in deferment and things of that nature. So, student loan debt, try to avoid it at all costs. No, I just listened to this. Elderly later on, Steve Harvey says, take the word try out your vocabulary because try leaves room for error and doubt. Avoid student loan debt at all costs unless you are getting a specialized, um, oh my goodness, that car just got in front of the car, a specialized degree because oftentimes people get these student loan debt and the certificates that they hang on the wall do not pay or do not equivalent to the amount that they had to pay for that paper certificate. So I'm definitely for information over education, right? I'm definitely for learning simultaneously if you're an employee of being an entrepreneur. If it's just something as simple as having a digital home-based business, to understand the difference between having tax exemptions as an employee and tax deductions as an entrepreneur. And so, you all, this financial education now more than ever has to, that's what I'm learning, has to be, if you want to survive in this fourth industrial revolution, you're going to have a financial education. Have to, right? And so, with that being said, you all, if you don't have any in the IRS, you still need those business skill, financial education, because again, that's going to cause inflation and prices to go higher. You don't get a free lunch, right? Like that quote that I said that I saw on a social media meme, that life is like a sandwich. No matter which way you flip it, the bread has to come first. And so many people also advocate, I want the price of living to increase. We need the increased price of living. Well, increased price of living also is going to bring about increased pricing. It's just no way. So you have to get your money up, get your financial education up. Thank you, Oliver, Jermaine. That's right, Crypto Jake. Education will be free in the future, so debt must be forgiven. I don't know about that. I would love for the Department of Education to wipe out student loan debt because one thing I do not, I believe in, I see gas prices have dipped some a little bit, is that the time value of money. Time value of money. What is the time value of money? Like, if I can get a loan to get a vehicle at 3% interest rate, and I know Dave Ramsey teaches to pay cash, but do you understand and realize how long it takes many people to stack cash? Because cheap vehicles, used vehicles, they don't exist anymore. I mean, you got vehicles that's 160 plus thousand miles, um, that they want $7,000 to $8,000 for. And so when you're in an economy, you are, as I'm pumping gas, I'm gonna continue to talk. When you're in an economy that prices of your everyday goods or services increasing, now it takes you longer to stack that money because your pay is the same, but prices are not remaining the same, right? Your pay remains the same, but the pricing doesn't. And so if your pay increases, then it's a catch 22. The prices are going to increase. And so this is why mainly people have to use credit if they are low income, especially if you're making under six figures. They have to use credit in order to supplement that low income, but they have to use their credit as capital gains. Let me know if y'all still can hear me. It's the only way that they happen. Unfortunately, again, most people that's not educated, they use Get some assets. Silver is the most undervalued asset in the world. Spot price of silver right now is like $32 a spot price. Copper is a global shortage on copper. You know, you can stop you can stop eating fast food as much, which would be healthier for you anyway, and afford to get an ounce of silver every week. And there's a silver squeeze going on right now. In fact, London in about 5 months is reporting that they will um, possibly be out of silver. London is sending silver and gold to the United States. And so, real estate is still overpriced. So there's no cheap real estate for the people that had the dream of investing in real estate and being a landlord, especially if you're earning under 100K or 250K a year. That's outpricing for a lot of people. But you still got cryptos like XLM, XPR, XLM 32 cents, XPR under a penny, XRP, $2 and plus cents. You still have these cryptos that are affordable that can give you 10, 20, 50, 100x, 1000x return on your investment. You can't hear me? Okay. Can you all hear me now? I don't know. I guess it cut off. Let me know if you all did I lose my range? Give me a second. Let me know if y'all can hear me now because it's going back and forth. Okay, can you hear me now? You said you could not hear outside, so let me my tank is full now. Let me know if the sound is bad when I was outside. But can you hear me now? I know you couldn't hear me outside, but can you hear me now? Okay, you can hear me now. Okay, couldn't hear me outside, but you can hear me now. Okay. All right. So what was I? I forgot what I was saying outside. But okay. So I was talking about cheap assets. If you didn't hear me, getting cheaper assets. Real estate is overpriced for a lot of people right now, especially if you're not a six-figure income earner, right? And even for some six-figure income earners, it's overpriced. It's just overpriced no matter what your income is. Real estate is overpriced. We have not seen the price of real estate dip or go down at all, right? If gold is XAU and silver SAG, the cryptos with the E are thought to be in a similar way. Let me elaborate on that comment. I'm glad I was able to read it before I got on the road. Um, you all X just means global. Like silver is X and it's global and it's still $32 an ounce. Now, what is copper? Is copper X? Um, But X also means global money, that it can act as money. X just means global. It's the difference between Malcolm X, who went to study, what religion did Malcolm X study, you all? Um, was it Muslim? Yeah. Who went abroad globally to do some things, and then you got Martin Luther King, who primary was presence was in the United States. So that's why Malcolm X name ends with an X and Martin Luther King does not. Martin Luther King was prominent, powerful, United States. Malcolm X had a global presence, right? It does not mean because you get any crypto. Because we can talk about XYO and it's other X cryptos. That means they will have a global function, right? But I still want you all, don't forget the first part of this live stream, which is about checking your credit, because again, if you are middle class, if you are not already rich and wealthy, one way to attain access is through your credit. Let's not sleep on that, because at some point, crypto is highly volatile right now. It's fluctuating. And I can continue to say all day to buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. But at some point, your disposable income, you might be like, Queen, I want to buy the dip on the, but I'm still waiting on some gains. And I'm out of powder right now. I'm operating on dry powder. So, buying the dip, at some point, you have to take advantage of the gains. And I was listening to another YouTuber, and he asked the question on his YouTube live. Let me make sure you all can still hear me. I don't want to be talking. Somebody says you're doing too much reading while driving. I'm not even gonna comment on that. I'm not even in the mood for that. I can read in a parking lot of a gas station comments if that's what I want to do. I can read in a parking lot of a gas station. That's what I want to do. But at any rate, I was listening to a YouTuber, and one of the questions in his YouTube live was, what financial principles from the Bible do you practice? Stewardship. Are you a good steward of your money? Managing your debt the right way, right? Giving. Do you give tithes and offerings? Is it stewardship, giving, or managing of debt? It had nothing in that question about growing your money. And the Bible teaches that. Matthew 25 is a great parable. 2 Kings chapter 4 is a great scenario that teaches you how to leverage your credit to create cash flow and to start a home-based business. 2 Kings chapter 4. And then we have Matthew 25, the parable of talents, that was all about money. I never understood the preachings or the teaching that said that was about your talent, about your skill set. No. How can you bury your talent in the ground? The man he said, you should have put my money in the bank so I could have at least gained interest. I never understood people that misconstrue or misinterpret Matthew 25. That was all about growing money, not your talent or your skill set that you have, personally. He said, you should at least put my money in the bank so I could have drawn interest. I'm a harsh man. I reap where I have not sown. How can you take that and flip it and say this is about God coming back to see what you did with your talents on earth? Luke 19:13 says to do business until I return. Also, we had an example of the the young manager in the Bible, who, when he was fired, he went to negotiate to pay off his master's debt. And that brings out that the children of the darkness are wiser when it comes to the children of the light, meaning, meaning Christians are believers when it comes to finances and money. So the Bible is a great book, a very exoteric book, a book about science, and a book about banking. Building is a book about money. It talks about King Solomon and Queen Sheba. Rich people. There are more rich people mentioned in the Bible than poor. There's a poor man, Lazarus, that was caught up when he died begging on earth for crumbs. My question is, if the poor man Lazarus was, caught up and sent to heaven in Abraham's bosom, why was he poor on earth? Why was you a poor Christian on earth? And he was begging. He was sitting at the gate begging, right, for rich people to just give them the crumbs off his table. And then you had a rich man, Lazarus. Who was that? It was Jesus' best friend that he raised from the dead. It was Mary and Martha's brother in the Bible. So there are way more. In fact, the Bible talks about in Genesis that Abraham was very rich. And to let people know that we're not talking about rich in spirit, it goes on to explain his material riches. He was rich in livestock, land, silver, and gold. Silver is still God's money. It makes no sense to have 100% of government's money, which is cash, and 0% of God's money. And so, yes, XRP, XPR, especially for the privacy that banking needs. That privacy banking, XPR. XLM, the Revelation 13:17, the Stellar coin. Look at this nice G. All right, the Stellar coin. XDC, one of them that's not widely talked about, that the Simpsons brought out, that's going to be big as well. Are going to be big, but we can't just categorize and say all the X's or all the ISO tokens. No, you got tokens like HBAR, Chainlink connecting with Swift. There's going to be big blockchain technology, big in this financial system as well. And so, I'm trying to figure out why my air is not blowing cool. This is strange. So with that being said, you all, I'm going to log off. But yeah, make sure, hello to you. Someone says, hey lady. Make sure you check your credit score, especially if you had on medical collections reported. They don't automatically fall off. You may have to dispute. Just because things are supposed to be done doesn't mean that credit agencies are going to honor that. Also, they are called credit agencies for a reason. They are not credit bureaus. That's another misconception. These are not credit bureaus. These are credit agencies, meaning that they're not federal. They are businesses. They're no more federal than FedEx. They are big businesses, just like Target, Walmart. And you have a right to dispute and get things deleted off your credit score, because credit is a tool, right, to gain assets to increase your financial well-being. Let me log out because I have to see why my AC is not blowing cold. We cannot have that in the South. All right, you all. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that like and share button. Wrapping it up. Also, ending the IRS is going to increase prices, so you need to get your money up as well. And also, I'm going to do this for Crypto J. Someone says, is SDC on The Simpsons? Yes, SDC is on The Simpsons. SDC is mainly mentioned on The Simpsons. In fact, in Gematria, SDC is 3113, and that's when SDC was mainly talked about on The Simpsons. In fact, Zenfin on The Simpsons is showing that SDC is going to flip all the X's, right? And also Flare is on The Simpsons. Also XPR Proton is on The Simpsons as well. trying to think if XLM is on the Simpsons. You gonna get over? Just want to drive in the middle of the road? My goodness. I'm watching the road better than some people that's not live streaming. And now I'm getting cool air. You are so welcome. Now, this is for you all at Crypto Jake. You all make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit the thumbs up on this video. If you are not getting notification when I live stream, when you hit the like button, it will notify you. But make sure you are subscribed, and that bell next to subscribe does not have a slash on it, that is cut on. And this is for you all in Crypto Jake. Do not forget to buy crypto, suckers. I love it. I love it. And don't forget that I told y'all, I haven't went away from that. Y'all thought I was playing, but I told y'all. Oh, thank you, Ray. I read that says the professor glasses. Well, I have some glasses, but these are my sunglasses. These are more like my Matrix sunglasses, right? These are more like my Matrix sunglasses when I just don't, I want to block the haters, right? These are my glasses. These are for distance, foresight. I'm naturally nearsighted, so. Okay, you all, get your credit up, crypto up, cash flow up, because in the IRS, Department of Ed is going to be revamped. I hope your student loan goes away, but me knowing how the government is, I don't know. But prices are going to be higher as a result if the IRS goes away. The IRS is going away to bring in the fourth industrial revolution. This whole financial system is going to be revamped. We are in the information era, not the education. I love you all. Don't drive and live stream. Don't drink and drive either. Be safe. Don't do what I do. Just do as I say. Be safe. I love you all. Peace. Queen out. Let me get my stylist to hit this end button. Hello. Should I read this long comment before I do that? Because I am on a rural road. There is science and Forrest. There's a scene in Forrest Gump at the end of the movie when he opens a letter from Apple and says, if you invest in this, you won't have to worry about money ever again. This was before Apple was popular. Thank you for bringing that point out, because when people sometimes ask me, why do you watch The Simpsons, or why do you refer to The Matrix, or why do you refer to iRobot and Will Smith? They tell you what's going to happen before it. They tell you the plan before it's executed. That's why. It's also a movie on Netflix that I forgot that you all are telling me to watch too. On Netflix, that's revealing some things, right? Lord of the Rings, sci-fi. You know, they tell you the plan, and you are absolutely true. That scene on Forrest Gump, if people didn't understand Apple, then it went right over their heads. So crypto is the new Apple. Crypto is the new Berkshire Hathaway, right? Apple and Forrest Gump. That's wild. Yep, it's in that Forrest Gump scene. I did a live stream on it years ago. All right, y'all, I'm logging out for the last time. Peace. Queen out. Nails hit the end of the live stream. I might have to use my stylist.